line about the time she farted and fell on her bum was inspired by a poem that our next poet wrote about his wife and read out on stage. Our mum wasn't there, but I just put that in because it rhymed with bum. Alfie is a writer, a prose writer, is a poet, a performer. He works in schools working with young people. Is one of my favourite Tyneside poets. Will you please give a big warm welcome to Alfie Crow?
There aren't that many Tyneside poets, to be honest.
There's hundreds of them.
I want to start with a piece, with a poem that's it was a piece of advice given to me by my father that has always stood me in good stead, and it's I just call it the golden rule. Don't start crying when you're lying down, because tears go in your ears. Thank you. One of the joys of being a poet and performer, and I do a lot of, I used to do a lot of theatre work, drama work. One of the joys is that is all of the jobs that you have to do in order to pay the bills whilst you're pretending to be a performer and a poet. And I've had a lot of very strange jobs over the years. I did sit down and write them all out. One day I made a poem of it, and it lasted for about an hour. So I won't do that one. But until recently, I was a call taker for the ambulance service, which was great fun. My favourite call, I think, was the day a man rang up and said, "Oh, I've just found a young lad. He's lying unconscious in the park." And it was the first question you always ask is, was he breathing? He said, "Oh, yeah, he's fine in that way. I'll put him in the missionary position." That's how I want to go. One summer, when I was a student, I did get a job. Actually, we might have a bit of audience participation in this one, so because I can see you. Can you all just do that? Oh, it's like a coral reef. It's quite beautiful. Right? Okay, I might get you to join in the chorus. I did get a job working for on a Bernard Matthews turkey farm one summer, which was lovely. Really badly paid. But I mean, one of the best things was that I was actually working in the artificial insemination unit, collecting sperm from boy turkeys, obviously. And the way we did it, I think it's a bit more sort of computerised and automated now. But what you used to have was it looked like an old-fashioned car horn. It was like a metal tube with a rubber ball on the end. So you've all just passed your initiation test for being turkeys, artificial inseminators. And what you used to do was just put it over the turkey's member. And you just used to pump this little rubber ball until the turkey did what male turkeys do. And this is a poem about that. Making little turkeys is no straightforward job, and definitely not the best way to make a couple of bob, but there is some satisfaction if you do it right. Well, at least for the turkey, there's a bit of Turkish delight. And you take your rubber ball and you squeeze it, and then you take your little turkey cock and tease it, by showing him a picture of a little turkey hen, and if that doesn't work, then you show it him again. Little turkey ankles, legs and the rest, and finish it all up with a nice bit of breast. And you take your rubber ball and you squeeze it, and then you take your little turkey cock and tease it. And that's how that's how you take your turkey cock and please it. And once you've finished, don't forget to freeze it. Warm your hands and set the mood. If you've got a wattle, wobble it. And never let the lady turkeys come along and gobble it. I don't want to be an MP, or a policeman, or a banker. But please God, may I never again be a turkey artificial inseminator. Thank you very much. Shortly after that, I graduated with a degree in drama and English, and was waiting to hear if I was going to go and do a PhD in drama at Bristol. And I went down to the job centre, foolishly, thinking they might have some jobs that involved working in drama. And I was looking on the list, and there was only one card. I thought, oh, great. I picked it off, took it up to the desk, and said, oh, I'd like to sort of phone up about this job. And it turned out it was actually for a theatre orderly, which I thought was just someone who worked in the theatre. It was actually someone who worked in an operating theatre, cleaning up after operations. I was so embarrassed, I didn't like to say, oh, I made a mistake. So I actually went along to the interview and got the job. And at the interview, they said, what are your plans? I said, I was going to go to Bristol to do a doctorate. So when I arrived on the ward, everyone I met, all of the surgeons said, oh, you're the one who's going to come and train to be a doctor, aren't you? Come and watch this. So we go in and they'd be amputating limbs and there'd be caesarean sections and all kinds of things. The strangest thing that ever happened was my first night on my own. They did what was euphemistically called a snatch, which is when someone is considered brain dead and their organs are to be donated. So basically what they do is keep them alive long enough to take everything out and get it shipped out and on the road. And this is one called Diaspora. A man lies on a table. The surgeon states again for the record that he is no longer viable. I think of a money off coupon, no longer redeemable. An accident, swift and final, that brought him here. A cutting begins, delicate and brutal, a race against the clock of his heart, which lies exposed, still beating time, slipping a last meal to close neighbours, like an anxious mother packing off the kids with lunch. I imagine his soul adrift, piecemeal, cast into strange dark cavities like orphans. My own father died with another man's heart in his body, a conjoined parting, for one a first, the other a second passing. I imagine surgeons and nurses joking over his body, passing forceps and comments over his corpse, chortling in the face of mortality. A gentle explosion of flesh and offal, things dripping and flapping that have no right, then folded back hastily and clumsily sealed like a letter opened in error. As I begin to clean the mess left over, his heart, his liver, his lungs, his kidneys, bone marrow and spleen, his eyes, blue, are packed in ice, and bound for who knows where. This man, who died at 23, butchered and sutured, lies still. But he'll travel more than I ever will. Thank you. I am going to do that poem, as my wife's not here. I usually can't get away with reading this one if she's in the audience. I got married in May this year. We got married in May this year. I don't know if any of you know the North East, but we got married in a lighthouse at St Mary's Island, just off Whitley Bay, and had a fantastic day. But this is a poem about one of the things that they don't warn you about when you're getting married. It's called An Incident Upon the Stair. When you meet your one true love, life is sweet beyond compare. Everything has scents of roses, but if you marry, then beware. When you are married, things may change, things which make you stop and stare, as yesterday when my fair wife, she did a trump upon the stair. Though she said a pardon and smiled sweetly, and the event was, in fairness, rare, I had to ponder on the meaning of this trump upon the stair. I was surprised, as you'd imagine, for she didn't seem to care. It's only natural, she told me, for a wife to trump upon the stair. And will this now be a regular feature, this tooting of her derriere? Must I prepare for trumpet solos catching me all unawares? One day when old will she let rip and suddenly befoul the air, and follow through, so I must change the bedding and her underwear. One day I might, and will do it gladly, and scrub the stains from off her chair. And always, always I will excuse her when and if her bottom blares. We may well have to buy a ducky to blame for pongs extraordinaire, and only eat a simple diet, but that is in the future, mon cher. For now in company we are polite, our bottoms may as well not be there. But privately, I find it charming, my wife a trumping on the stair. quite an old poem. This was inspired by a story in the news about an old man, a pensioner, who'd filled in the wrong bit of his form to claim his pension. And nobody bothered to tell him. They just stopped his claim. And he assumed he wasn't entitled. And his money sort of dwindled. Eventually, he did die and wasn't found for almost a month. And it's based on a nursery rhyme, you probably know. And it's just called This Old Man. This old man, he played one end against the other, now his money's all gone, singing knick-knack, paddywhack, walking down the pub, a pint tonight, and tomorrow, no club. This old man, he played two, games of pool, then his yob steamed through, singing knick-knack, took a whack across his old tattoos, woke up in the morning, black and blue. This old man, he weighs 3 stone less than he did at 20, singing knick-knack, never snacks, hardly ever eats, spends his days just walking streets. This old man, he paid for 18 months off the telly, then they battered down his door, singing knick-knack, took a stack, took the bloody lot, left just an ancient stereo, a cooker and a cot. This old man, 9 till 5, sits in the library, keeps his mind alive, singing knick-knack, holds his back, feels like such a wreck, trudges home eventually, knackered from the trek. This old man, he waits 6 days to see the doctor, tries to talk, but his throat sticks, singing knick-knack, hates the quack, feels a proper twat, breaking down and blubbering, going on like that. This old man, he plays 7 hours of old-time records, well, goes to bed about 11, singing knick-knack, sad old track, tears run down his face, says sorry to his wife's photo, feels a right disgrace. This old man, he lays 8 quid out for prescriptions, keeps them till the use-by date, singing knick-knack, knocks them back, neck the bloody lot, can't stand another day of this, time to get shot. Some old man, 999, wouldn't bother hurrying, mate, waste of bloody time, singing knick-knack, door went crack, came 2 weeks too late. Should have seen the body, man, what a bloody state. These old men, news at 10. Can't have these things happening again, singing knick-knack, pass the flack. Nothing we could do. And if you say it often enough, might come true. Thanks a lot. Have a great night.
Alfie Crow, thank you, Alfie.